The Q Radio Pets Corner.
With Brandy Dog Food, because they're 100% family. You know you're giving them the best.
Q Radio.
Q Radio.
Welcome with me, Sharon Jennings. Coming up, I talk to one of the UK's leading cat welfare charities. But firstly, like humans, our furry friends are living to a greater age, but unfortunately, vets are seeing an increase in the cases of dementia. I caught up with vet Eva McCormick from the PDSA, and I started by asking her what signs we should look for to detect dementia in our pets.
There are quite a lot of different signs that you might come across. The main one really is a change in their behaviour. They may start to maybe get lost around the house or forget where they're going. They may seem to be a little bit more depressed or not responding to being called anymore. They can seem to not want to run around as much. Other things that we commonly see will be changes in their sleeping pattern. So they might sleep more during the day and then be awake all night, and that sometimes can lead to the dog barking at night time or crying all the time. They can have changes in their appetite as well. The barking and the whining and not responding to the owner are the main signs that we would see, and they can also lead to loss of toilet training as well if they don't know where they are anymore.
That's very distressing condition, Eva, isn't it? So what can you do to help your pet if it unfortunately does get dementia?
So the frustrating thing about dementia is that there is no cure really for it, but there are things that you can do to help your pet to stop them from getting stressed. So avoiding to change the furniture around the house, including their water and their food, so that it's always in the same spot. And you can also then try and exercise them as much as possible and play games with them, and that will help to keep their brain stimulated. But always go to your vet and seek advice.
Pets Corner.
Thursday's pet trivia. Did you know a human has about 5 million scent receptors in the nose, while a dog has a whopping 200 million, which means they can smell your dinner more strongly and at a greater distance than you. But if they steal it, they can't taste it quite as well. For more facts, features and competitions, why not like Brandy Dog Food on Facebook at facebook.com/Brandy Dog Food.
Pets Corner.
When we think about animal sanctuaries, we tend to think about ones that are sanctuaries for dogs, but there is an organisation that does great work for cats, and that's the Cats Protection. And joining me is Belle Livingstone, who's the manager of the Belfast branch. So Belle, the Cats Protection, I mean, you do a huge amount of work to look after abandoned or stray cats.
Well, yes, we do. I mean, I can give you some statistics just to give you an idea of the volume of the work that Cats Protection in Northern Ireland take on each year. I mean, last year, girls at reception took over 10,000 calls. Out of those 10,000 calls, there was around 3,500 of those requests for cats to come into the centre. That's huge. Unfortunately, we're only a 66 pen centre, so you don't need to be a mathematician to sort out how many cats we can actually bring into the centre.
And so once you get the cats into the centre, and it's kittens as well, Belle, I guess there's different issues you've got. If there's any medical issues, then you have to deal with that, as well as then trying to rehome the cats.
I mean, what we're seeing lately, a lot of elderly cats coming through, and these are cats that have started to get on in years and perhaps are presenting with problems like arthritis, maybe the eyesight's not so good or the kidneys are starting to go, so need ongoing veterinary treatment. You know, a lot of the stuff we do, we have to fundraise for ourselves to help these cats. It's quite sad to see, because when the older cats come in, they've been used to a home, and it's really, really hard for them to adjust to a small pen, albeit a very comfy pen, being provided with 2 meals a day and lots of love and TLC, but it's not their home, and it does take its toll on them. We do our very best. I mean, last year we homed 506 cats. That's amazing for this wee centre, considering we're only 66 pens. Cats Protection's 3 main aims are homing, neutering and education. All the cats that come through this centre will be neutered. We tend to bug you to get that cat neutered. That's just our job. That's what we have to do.
Belle Livingstone from the Cats Protection, thank you very much. And next week we get tips from the Cats Protection about things you may want to think about before adopting a cat. And finally, I'd like to say a big thank you to the Marine Hotel in Ballycastle. We were in Ballycastle last week en route to Rathmines Rathlin Island with the dog and had approached the hotel outside to see if it was okay to sit outside and have a sandwich, and they said absolutely, of course, and if you want to you can also go and sit inside, which was fantastic as it was quite a windy and rainy day. So we were able to take Louis the dog inside, and they made a great fuss of him, which he loved because he's now old and deaf and blind, and they made us feel very welcome and very comfortable. So I highly recommend the Marine Hotel in Ballycastle if you're looking for somewhere where you're welcomed with your dog.
The Q Radio Pets Corner.
With Brandy Dog Food.